Welcome to the show, everybody. It's the Crypto Lark. Today I have with me Thomas Schouten. He is the marketing lead at Lisk. Thomas, welcome.
Thanks so much for having me. Great to be in the show.
Now, can you tell me the short version? What is Lisk for anyone out there who's not familiar with you yet?
Yeah, so Lisk is a blockchain application platform. Like we know a few of them, um, commonly compared to Ethereum as a platform as well. And the goal for Lisk is to make blockchain as accessible as possible with a software development kit, which utilizes JavaScript as the main programming language. So really like lowering the barriers for blockchain applications, basically.
Great. And why choose to focus on JavaScript? I mean, there's a lot of languages out there. Why choose to focus on just that one and not make it for multiple languages or something like this?
Yeah, so basically, well, back in when we started, or when the two founders, Max Kordek and Oliver Beddoes, founded Lisk outside their project they were doing at the time, which was called Crypty, in the very early days when the currencies in blockchain were not that cool as they are currently. They saw that there was a lack of developer adoption, and they said, okay, there are frameworks like Django and Ruby on Rails for the current web environment, and they said, why is there not such a thing for blockchain? And so they came to the conclusion that the language it should be written in is JavaScript because it's one of the most popular programming language in the world currently. So because why not multi directly like multi languages? Let's start do it first in JavaScript, which is our main focus. Make it super secure and reliable and easy, and from there scale to multi language support with the help of the community.
Very cool. Now, Lisk utilizes sidechains. What's the idea behind using sidechains? Why is that a good solution?
So, well, there are many actually many arguments why we should go for sidechains. the One of the most important ones is scalability. It's not necessarily like the scalability issue, like solving it directly, but we see with Ethereum that when the applications are running on the main chain, there's a congestion. It slows down the network, which comes with a lot of disadvantages. And if you scatter all the transactions and load on the network across different chains, like the main chain and different side chains, you at least postpone the scalability issue for a while. That's an important one. The second one is like customizable. Like a sidechain is more customizable. It will be so people can make with a sidechain a copy of the main chain, which is in the beginning copying like exactly, for example, our consensus algorithm, and along the way they can replace this module for their own consensus algorithm. So again, this is not wouldn't be possible without the sidechain technology. So yeah, like more scalable, more customizable. And the third one is that it's like if the sidechain is badly developed or there's a problem on the main chain, it doesn't affect each other. And I think this is also a pretty important security factor. So yeah, security that's customizable and it's more scalable.
Very cool. Sidechains are definitely an interesting implementation of how to approach scalability moving forward, without a doubt. Now, Lisk, you guys are going to be having custom tokens. Does that mean we're going to see Lisk ICOs here at some point in the near future, or is that simply people who can build on top of Lisk?
So the thing is that we really want to sort of separate the two things, right? So one thing like the business concept and custom tokens behind that business concept, and the other side is like developing your sidechain itself. And currently, it's very difficult to just with a few clicks get your custom tokens. And this year, you will be able to within the Lisk Hub, so our newest product, where all the functionalities, the wallet and the Explorer, and much more comes together, and also sidechain management. Within a few clicks, in a very nice user experience, a user interface, you can select directly your name of your sidechain, register your decentralized application, and say, okay, I want to have the LAR coin, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Claim your name directly within the wallet, within the hub. You get your tokens, all the tokens, and probably will be like by default as the Lisk mainnet. So there's like 100 million tokens directly, and then you can run your ICO, and you're good to go to distribute your tokens right away after the ICO is finished, all within this Lisk Hub environment. So you don't have to leave anything. There's less coding involved than we see currently. So again, simplicity, accessibility, and user experience.
Cool. I want to get some Lark coin on Lisk. That's going to be awesome.
I can get you.
Now, I also see that in the roadmap, you guys are planning on doing a DEX in the future. So that's a decentralized exchange for anyone who doesn't know. Is that going to be solely Lisk to Lisk-based tokens, or is that going to be Lisk to Bitcoin to other things as well?
Well, that's not defined yet. I mean, it's of course on the development roadmap because we think it's a very, very good step optimizing the Lisk ecosystem. All the sidechain tokens, they don't have like the time, the energy, and especially funds to travel to Asia and get up major exchanges. With the Lisk team, we travel to Asia, and then as a result, there are a few big exchanges, including Bitflyer now, because of the increase in popularity in Japan. But this is not something every sidechain can do, of course. So it's not feasible. So if you have a decentralized exchange, it's very easy to just swap the Lisk token for sidechain tokens. So you create like liquidity and demand for all the tokens. Of course, also there's another use case for the main chain token that creates demand for Lisk itself, the underlying platform. To answer your question, will there be also a trading pair with Bitcoin or potentially other platforms? Depends how the interoperability between blockchains evolves, and also like how the technical aspect of that like influence the decision. But that's further this year on the timeline.
Yeah, interoperability is without a doubt a big question on everyone's minds right now. And I know that there are a lot of projects out there working on interoperability, but they're still early stages. So it's something that I think we all have to keep watching the space to see how interoperability develops. I don't think it's a question of if, but a question of when, of course. So we'll check back on that one in
Exactly.
about a year, I think. Now,
Yeah.
in Lisk, you guys use a delegated proof of stake system. Why is it a good idea to have this delegate system versus, for example, proof of work or just regular proof of stake where I open my wallet and stake my own coins?
Yeah. So well, it was back in the days when we well, I always say like Lisk is still very young, but among all those new coins, we're a bit of a veteran actually. So yeah, when we went live, we were like researching different consensus algorithms, and well, proof of work works, but it has its known downsides. And we wanted something which is more democratic and which also, for example, makes it more accessible for the community to participate in this consensus algorithm. That's why we choose for the delegated version. It's a tweaked version of the proof of stake, where, for example, which is really nice, if you have not such a big stake, so it doesn't make sense for you to stake your coins to become like a forging delegate. In our case, at least you can expect a return on your voting power, so called. So if you're
Mm-hmm.
at a small wallet, still vote for top delegates, which are forging. In return for your vote, they transfer Lisk tokens into your account. So that means that you get like a couple of percentages of return on your Lisk wallet without doing anything except for voting. So that's something which makes it super interesting for a lot of community members to participate in this in our consensus algorithm. Whereas, for example, you see with Bitcoin, it's up to the miners, and it's very far for their imagination. So yeah, again, the simplicity and efficiency also from the technical aspects of, for example, every 10 seconds a block, for example. So that's also, yeah, it's a combination of accessibility and the technical benefits of it.
Okay, great. Now, what are you doing to increase the name recognition of Lisk? Obviously, Ethereum right now has a giant market share, but it also has huge name recognition. How do you get Lisk to be more of a, I guess, a household name like Ethereum is?
Yeah, so well, that comes in the current markets, like in the current industry, like our marketing is very leading, right? So it's all about like getting on exchanges and getting the name out, and having a big advertisement and having a lot of releases, etc. So I think that this year in 2018, we're going to see switch between marketing is leading towards development is leading. Of course, Ethereum is 2 years older than we are in a further stage. They are more in a developers stage where you can see actual applications being built on top of the platform. And I think that it's very important to get your name out is that you have regular updates in the sense of like update developers, what they're capable of. I think it's also people talking about the platform. So if somebody experienced how easy it is to develop on and trade on Lisk, they will spread the word. For example, the very like the pleasant user experience. This may be a very good experience in the customer support where they got helped out with any kind of question, all the way to deploy their sidechain. So the simplicity and its ease of developing is something I think will spread like a virus. This is important, of course, also like customized content and events. So tailored events for specific groups. Now we have like general Lisk meetup, which is basically like creating general awareness, like what I'm currently doing with you, for example. Also interviews, etc., and with influencers. But we want to have this year more tailored events for developers. So like hackathons, workshops, once the SDK is there. But on the other side, the Lisk Hub is designed for anybody to operate with the Lisk network. And then have sort of like Lisk or blockchain for dummy workshops. Same for content. We see a huge increase in demand and interest from Japan. But the level of English is sometimes not sufficient to really get, to details. So yeah, curated content for specific user groups and also per country, I think is very important. And that's how our local ambassador initiative helps out very well with people all over the world. Last Tuesday during our relaunch event, people flew in from China, Japan, Australia, the United States. They all came over to Europe to be part of this amazing evening. So it's a true decentralized effort, and I think we will continue doing so, plus all the traditional marketing efforts, online marketing, optimizing the website and the platform along the way, together with our marketing partners, and of course partnerships, which we will be working on this year much more intensely.
Very interesting. Yeah, I think there's a lot of challenges in trying to market yourselves effectively in Asia because there's so many different communities. What works in the Japanese market might not work in the Thai market as far as marketing and as far as trying to spread the message of what you guys are trying to do at Lisk. So certainly it's a tricky thing without a doubt. I'm really excited as well to hear that you do have these, I guess, community ambassadors in these different countries out there talking about Lisk. I assume hosting Lisk meetups and different things like this, which is of course very, very cool. Now, I guess as a more overall meta question, what are the challenges in actually marketing and making a cryptocurrency cool? Because essentially, it's a really fantastic project that Lisk is doing, and it's super cool. How do you, I don't know, make it cool to regular people? The ideas of, hey, you can develop smart contracts on JavaScript over here on our sidechains and use our custom tokens on our DEX. And how do you get that message across and make it cool for people?
Yeah, so that's an interesting question, of course, and there's no benchmarking. I mean, every currency has or blockchain platform has their own like marketing team, and they're doing different outings. I think what is important is that it's completely different than a normal startup environment to begin with. You're dealing with all the funding in the beginning, and you're dealing with all your customers basically, or a lot of customers right from the beginning, right? So right from the start, you have to perform, and this is very, very tricky. And as you said, like the difference between different countries, why is one cryptocurrency performing better in Japan than, for example, in Thailand or in China, has to do with a lot of different factors. I think like the curated content is very, very an important factor. Language is an important factor. And how do you become cool? I think that we are seen often as practicing more traditional marketing communications because we would like to be seen as a serious project, a serious company. We are like humans. We are working together in the same office, working towards his main goal. And this is a bit different than what you see with a lot of other projects where they add decentralized towards the platform. and there's not really a culture shaping up. And I think that in the long run, companies, for example, with partnerships, appreciate the fact that we are a serious startup with people working together. Yeah, it's more efficient in that way. So yeah, how do you become cool? It's a matter of reading your audiences and making it tailored for Europe, for example, for United States, and our surge in Japan, for example, in the Asian region. So yeah, again, tailored and customizable.
Cool. I wanted to ask one more, I guess, technical-ish question before we hop into a little more on partnerships and things like this. In the event that Lisk, goes to the moon, the current fee structure may not be applicable and it might actually be too expensive to send a transaction on Lisk because right now there is a set fee to send Lisk from point A to point B. Are there any plans in the future to introduce a floating rate for that?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Well, we acknowledge that the current fees are way too high. I think registering a delegate is 25 Lisk, voting is 1 Lisk, and a regular transaction is 0.1 Lisk. But those static fees were set in the time of the very beginning, right? And then everything exploded. The prices went sky high. So it outperformed basically every expectation. So I can tell that one of the very first things we will be working on after Core 1.0 has been released is the fee system. So first, after Core 1.0 is there, first fee system, second the new address system, and thirdly the modularization of Core, which sets the foundation for the Alpha SDK. So again, first one is from static fees to dynamic fees. So in other words, it won't be like static fee per transaction or any type of transaction, but dynamic. So depending on the size of the transaction. So that opens up, and it will also be way cheaper to do so, to send a transaction, for example, which means that the Lisk network gets opened up for many token holders which have a lower amount in their wallets. So if somebody has 10 tokens in their wallet, which is amazing, but it's very expensive for them to start voting, for example, or to send a transaction. So to open it up, again, making it more accessible and more user friendly, we open up that kind of portion of the wallets by lowering the fees dramatically with dynamic fees. Also, voting, for example, becomes much cheaper, which makes it easier for people to change votes. And then you also have a more democratic, delegated proof of stake system. So many advantages. And especially with the side chains on the horizon, very important step after Core 1.0. Very soon afterwards.
And now you mentioned one other thing there that maybe you can expand on a little bit. You said you're going to be changing the way the addresses work.
Yeah, so basically, well, the current addresses, by the way, we talked for everybody that's watching, we talked about it more in depth with our own cryptographer, Iker. He is the first member of our science team. He was in a panel discussion on development last Tuesday, the 20th of February. So everybody that wants to know a bit more on this topic, please watch the whole video of the relaunch event of Lisk. To answer your question, we have currently a unique and user-friendly address up to, I think, 22 digits with the L in the end as a Lisk identifier. And for now, it's fine. It's reliable, it's secure, it's user-friendly. But if you take into account millions of addresses created in the Lisk hub utilizing sidechains, for example, it's not so scalable anymore. For example, it has a lower entropy than, for example, the Bitcoin addresses. So to prepare the Lisk ecosystem for the side chains that are coming, we need to make a couple of adjustments and look forward on the timeline. And the new address system is one of the things we want to tackle or improve, at least, for those side chains.
Very cool. Okay, it's time to talk about the rebrand. Now, the rebrand has happened. First question, why rebrand at all?
Well, I think it's not just a marketing trick. I mean, we saw the price going up of unshares when it became NEO, for example. In our case, it was a real necessity. When I joined the platform and I saw the website, it was like, this is not Lisk worthy. So we directly into a partnership with the award-winning design agency in Berlin, and we said, okay, how can we improve a couple of things? So the first one is like, how do people perceive what Lisk is? And I think in order to do this, you need to understand, okay, how we are being perceived right now with the current website and the current, marketing and communication efforts, and how do we want people to see us within the next years? So that's why we have with Relevance, the brand consultant, also based in Berlin, work with many big clients. Identified, okay, what is the brand strategy or the identity of Lisk? This was the first phase, and then the second phase is how do we translate this brand identity into visuals, so into a website, into the application, into everything we do, into the code, the naming of the products, for example. So it goes quite far, and everything which is like related to the ecosystem. So together with Taekwondo, for months we went through this rebranding process, and came after a lot of user testing, etc. Came to the website, how it is right now, and also the Lisk Hub as a one-stop shop for everybody, basically. So it's the only product which is not only developer-facing, but also for traders, for investors, for entrepreneurs, for commissioners, etc. So we saw this use demand for this Lisk Hub, this product. So it comes all together. It's like not only like a new logo, which was also a lot of critics about the old logo, but also more about simplicity, user experience, and the image overall. And I think we had a great success last week on Tuesday, and it's a new decade, a new start for us to be taken serious. By bigger firms, for example, because the code is there, the quality is there. But I think if you have a sort of a website and an image of not so professional just because the logo looks ugly, or the website is just it lacks content or information, I think it's very, very difficult, even with high quality code, to do serious business. And I think that we now have one of the best websites and branding in the industry, and we can utilize this for the next months and years with our online marketing efforts. So I've really good hopes where we can take the Lisk platform.
Really cool. And I really agree with a lot of the points that you mentioned there. It's so important to have a really, really professional looking image, a really professional logo, and all these little things that some people might think are silly, but first impressions really count. And when someone goes to lisk.io, the old website, they go, oh, what's this? What's going on here? Not much. Don't know. This doesn't seem very friendly to me. But now the new website looks super professional. And actually, one thing I really liked was the Lisk trailer that you guys made. That's great for anyone who hasn't watched that yet. It's a pretty cool video you guys made about Lisk. So definitely this is what's needed to get this mass adoption. People have to go to it and say, oh, wow, these guys are really professional. These guys know what they're doing. I can trust in investing in this, or as a developer, developing on this, which is, of course, great.
Yeah,
Now,
exactly.
what are the major takeaways from the rebranding event? What were the big announcements that happened?
Major takeaways, as in for ourselves or for people that are watching?
For Lisk or for people that are watching. So, I mean, what were the things that you guys talked about
Well,
primarily? What were the big announcements that you made during the rebrand event?
so what was all about the website and a new product, Lisk Hub. So I think that what is very, very important, and the main takeaway, is that Lisk is trying to become, it's the major blockchain platform which focuses on accessibility and simplicity. It should be effortless, and that doesn't mean that we give away on for example, the way we can customize your sidechain, or on scalability or security. All those things are being taken into account as well. I mean, security first. That's why we are taking our time also on the development side of Lisk. So, but really making it as accessible. I think that if you want to make blockchain accessible, if you want to bring the blockchain technology, the benefits of blockchain to the bigger public, you need to understand like what people like. And the thing is that we are currently in a web environment big social social media, for example, like Facebook or Amazon, that do user testing and heavy UX optimizations. And we're used to work with those products. We have certain standards, and that was completely missing in our industry. Why? Because all the focus went, on development, and that should be the case because blockchain is super difficult to develop. But slowly you can see that, for example, like new products that come out there with the conducting ICOs, they take more the website and their image into consideration as well, because it's not only quality code. So it's a combination of a couple of factors, and I think everything comes together now for Lisk. So quality code with Core 1.0 upcoming, and then on the other side, the professional brand image. So accessibility. I think one takeaway from the rebranding event is that we are very professional. It's a bit strange to say it about yourself, but that was the keyword I saw on the internet by far the most. Max Kordek, one of our founders, that he promised like an Apple-style keynote, and I think we delivered on this promise. Of course, it's not realistic to compare ourselves with the most valuable company in the world, but well, they're a huge example for us how they approach again simplicity and accessibility. And I think that such an event has not been seen by cryptocurrency at least. So I think professionalism is another main takeaway. And the third one is like the potential in general, like how scalable this can become. Also for an investor, if you see that within a few months we have Core 1.0, that's the foundation for the pre-alpha SDK. Yeah, and in the summer we can see like such a surge in developer adoption that it's ICOs with a few clicks within the Lisk Hub. Very focused on simplicity. In a few years we have thousands of sidechains running, which all create their demand for the Lisk token. So also for investors, together with this professional image, I must have realized this is we are here to stay.
Very cool. Now, let's move on to our next question here. What about team development? How has the team at Lisk been growing? What's the atmosphere like in the Lisk office? Is it a fun office? You guys all very serious work time. Tell me about the team. Tell me about the office.
Well, first of all, we have a lot of fun as well. Everything is like going well with the prize and everything, and there's a lot of mainstream media attention for especially Bitcoin, but also a bit further, like for Ethereum and blockchain in general. And it's so much fun to work in an industry where there's so much attention towards us, and there's so much people looking out for what we are building within the industry. So that's super cool. But so we started with two founders. Then soon after that, a few developers. I was the first non-developer on the team, or one of the first non-developers on the team. And we have been scaling tremendously. We have been scaling from two founders now to almost 40 people in the team. Most of them are based in Berlin, working for Lightcurve, which is the for-profit blockchain development studio, which takes care, the biggest contractor of the Lisk Foundation, takes care of basically everything like development, marketing, support. We are hiring approximately 5 people a month now.
Wow.
So it is sometimes we're joking that it's more like in a recruitment and HR firm than in blockchain firm. It's you want quality people. So we have serious time spent on HR. We have now 10 people on marketing, community management, and design, and all the rest, except for operations, development. So again, heavy development. Focused, a lot of men. We are very open to hire also more women in the company, but our industry is unfortunately a lot of men. Also on the relaunch event, only men on stage. Try to also change that in the future. We have just a lot of fun. I think I always tell my people when I'm explaining about Lisk, don't feel like working. It's also why we don't work from 9 to 5. It's a matter of enjoying contributing to a project. And although we are getting paid for it, all of us, it doesn't feel like that. And I think that's super important. Is that we all very believe in blockchain. We very believe in Lisk. And while working hard, but sometimes it's crazy. I'm still tired from last Tuesday. You're just having a lot of fun. Also, drinking a beer on Friday, playing table tennis. I mean, we're also humans. So yeah, it's a great atmosphere to work in.
Awesome. Awesome. It sounds like a fun office. If I'm ever passing through, I'll make sure to stop in and play some table tennis with you
Yeah,
guys.
definitely, definitely. Yeah.
Now, what about the Lisk Foundation? What is the idea behind the Lisk Foundation? What is the purpose of it?
Again, security, reliability, being within the legal boundaries. We tried to set the foundation after the ICO in Germany, but it was very complicated. And well, the region of around Zurich, especially Zug, has evolved into this crypto valley, facilitating many blockchain projects in the whole world. We have amazing legal partners with MME based in Zug, and the structure we have, the non-profit foundation in Switzerland, making sure that all the funds, we have currently 300 million Swiss francs in the foundation, that they are secure. Every time we take another step, maybe listing on an exchange or anything that has to do with financial implications or legal, we consult with our advisors back in Switzerland, and before we make a step, we make 100% sure that we're doing the right thing. So you want, as an investor, to be 100% sure that the money that is, being put into the funding that put into the Lisk ecosystem or the Lisk project is being secure, as much as that the code that is in what runs the Lisk protocol is also very secure, because one misstep, and it could be over for the whole project. So yeah, better to do something more secure or a bit longer than risking it. That's how simple it is. And as I said, we have different contractors. We have Waxman PR in the United States as a blockchain PR firm, also with an office in Dublin. We have an online marketing firm, Expand Online, in the Netherlands. We have two contractors in Berlin, and also the contractors in Switzerland I just mentioned. So again, decentralization, very important. Different companies in different countries working all together on the Lisk platform and Lisk project. So yeah, that's very good setup, I think.
Very cool. And what about the Lisk Vault? What is the Lisk Vault?
Well, the Lisk Vault is actually not the Lisk Vault, but it's more Max's Vault. Max believes so much
Wahahaha, all my
in his
Lisk in a
own.
vault.
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, the foundation, what I said, is very well, wealthy or well funded, um, but Max trusts so much in his own project that he said that from the tokens he got from the ICO time, which is, by the way, not so much, the both founders what they got compared to the current ICOs. Um, the percentages they got, he said, okay, I trust so much in the potential of this that at least half of all my personal, not the foundation, the personal Lisk tokens, I exclusively will invest in projects or sidechains built on top of the Lisk ecosystem. So that means that I think approximately like 2 million or 1.8 million Lisk tokens exclusively go back into the
Wow.
ecosystem of Lisk, which is like absolutely great incentive for everybody that's watching and knows about Lisk. If you're a developer or an app commissioner or an entrepreneur, you're looking to build on Lisk, you can apply for this Pioneers Vault, which is Max's personal money he's willing to invest into your project if it's a legit project. He will do his own due diligence. This has nothing to do with Oliver, has also nothing to do with me, has nothing to do with the foundation. It's his own personal investments. So yeah, the founder puts the money where his mouth is, and I think that's a great incentive as a founder to do so. So yeah, that's the Pioneers Fold.
That's really cool. I didn't know the backstory behind that. I think it's a fantastic step from Max to go, hey, I'm so into this. I believe in this so much. I'm putting my own personal stake up here. So that really
Yeah,
cool. Really, really cool. I think a lot of people out there might not have known that either. So it's a great backstory without a doubt.
yeah. Yeah,
Now,
and also that he already backed up the very first project. Madana is a blockchain platform. They are looking to build it on top of Lisk, and they
great.
are the first ones to use the funds that came out of that Pioneers Vault. So yeah, it's actually putting into practice. So super cool.
And can you give us any more details on that project?
You have to check out the website. It's madana.io. I think I can actually click it quickly.
Very cool. It's great to hear that there's actually, a project is now coming to Lisk. I think that's fantastic. Not only is a project coming to Lisk, but a project that Max has looked at personally and gone, I like what they're doing. I would like you to build on Lisk.
Exactly. So, yes, to confirm, it is madana.io. So please check it out. It's a great project.
Fantastic, really interesting. Now, final question for you for today. If somebody wants to go out and reach out or become involved in the Lisk community, what's the best way for them to do that?
Well, it depends where they're from. We see, for example, that Discord, we just opened it up in Japan, is the place to be for our Japanese community. In general, I would say that Twitter and the Lisk chat are very, very active. Also, our Telegram is increasing amount of people, the blog to get the updates. Our events, we organize, especially this year, as I mentioned before, curated events for specific groups. So if you're like a beginner, please join us and meet your peers within your group. Or if you're a developer, stay tuned for the hackathons and workshops. And come say hi. Not only the ones that are organized by the Lisk HQ in Berlin or in Europe, but also anywhere in the world. We have people from the United States all the way to China and Japan. Also an ambassador in Australia, also Korea. They organize local meetups, and you can meet people there. Maybe meet your co-founder, for example. So super cool. Yeah, that's very important. You can become an ambassador yourself. You can purchase the ambassador kit in the new web shop. You get like t-shirts, you get stickers, you get the guidelines from Lisk HQ, how to set up a proper meetup. Once you show us like the results of the meetup and share like the guest list and share the pictures, etc., can get back the refund for the package. So again, super decentralized effort. Yeah, and all the developers building tools. We have Gitter, which is super active, of course, the chat for all the developers. And there's also very, very, very a lot of activity going on Lisk chat. So please sign up there and share your thoughts and come with any question you have. So yeah, many options actually. There's a huge community module on the new website where you can find much more, especially YouTube videos. There were a lot of videos shown during the relaunch event, animation videos, but also, like you mentioned, the Create the Future video on our homepage. We are looking into much more video production across the whole year to inform people, but also for entertainment, to give updates on development. So yeah, I would definitely subscribe for our YouTube channel to get all the updates in video format.
Awesome. Lisk just moving from strength to strength, and the development that you guys are doing, the community building that you're doing, the direction that Lisk is moving in is all very, very exciting. So, Thomas, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with us today and, really give us the up-to-dates on what is going on over at Lisk. So I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me in the show. I really hope I could share a bit more than was already known, even though we were right after the relaunch event, which was also a highlight for Lisk. So a lot of things were shared there. So definitely check it out, please. And also the people that are watching. Yeah, exciting times ahead of us.